Monday, you know what it is. We're back with the pod. Oos. Just jits, can you tell? Oh. Nah, right, let's get into this one. So someone asked me this week's episode, they wanted it to be on how do you become your most authentic self? And I think so many people need to hear this because a lot of people just go through life trying to be the person that other people want them to be. And if I'm honest, that is something that really damaged my mental health, because when I was back in London, I was young. I must have been coming out of school, so 16, went into college, and all my parents drove home to me was, you need to get your papers or like your degree and whatever like that. And then that will set you up for life, so you can go into London, then you're going to get promotion after promotion. When you get promoted, you get more money, and when you get more money, you're going to live a happier life, you can go on nice holidays and so on and so forth. So I would say from the age of, well, I'd say for the start of my adult life, so from 18 until 25, so 7 years of my life, I didn't really do what I wanted to do. I just did, or I became the person that I thought other people wanted me to be. I didn't want to let my parents down. I went to uni because that was what they sort of told me that I should do. Whereas when I was there, the whole time I was at uni, it was very much a case of, I don't know why I'm here. It just felt like, oh, I don't know what I want to do yet, so this will make mum and dad happy, and it's a bit of an extension. It gives me a little bit more time to work out exactly what I want to do with my life. Come the end of uni, I had no idea. And then I went into a job up the city. I took the first job from the first interview that I had because I thought, again, I remember the day that I came back. So my mum and dad was on holiday. I was still at uni at the time, and my mate got me an interview with his company. So went to the interview. That was on a Friday. The boss said to me, come back in on Monday and have your second stage interview. Did that first thing Monday morning, and by lunchtime I was working. And when I got the job, I distinctly remember the feeling that I wasn't even happy for myself. I just thought, when my mum and dad get back off holiday, I'm going to tell them that sorry about the birds, I'm going to tell them that I'm working in London, and that's their dreams that are coming true. And I think when you lose sight of yourself, or maybe not even yourself, but when you're not true to yourself and what you actually want, it is so damaging to your mental health. Because what the fuck? It's so damaging to your mental health because you're never doing anything that you want to do. But the crucial thing that I will say is, you can never find out who you actually are. You're never going to find out who you actually are unless you search for that within yourself. And for me, I had to obviously go to the lowest point in my life where I wanted to commit suicide to find out who I actually was. Whereas I don't think that that is the only way. It's just I was never doing any work to find that out myself. I was literally just in a position where I was living for other people. I was doing things at weekends that don't necessarily sit at my core. Like I was going out, drinking loads, getting on it, and that's not the person who I am. But I won't say it's because of the people that were around me, but I guess that's like the culture of part of growing up is like, oh yeah, well, I had a mad one this weekend or whatever. So I think it's very easy to get lost into the norms of society, living for the weekend and working through a path of what your parents want or what the people around you want. And when you get stuck in that, it's very hard to be your authentic self. Now, for me to find out who you actually are, obviously I don't expect you to be on the cusp of committing suicide. I would never wish that on anyone, and I hope that your mental health is in a place where it is sustainable, you are doing work for it. But if you really want to find out who you are And this is a perfect time to do this podcast for me as well, because since I've come to Bali, I've spent loads of time on my own. And for me, on a personal level, I think that is the most important thing. You need to spend time on your own to find out who you are, what you want from life, the type of people that you want in your life. And the best way to do that, I believe, is to meditate on it. And I know that some people are like, oh, what does that even mean? I'm still really unsure of, like, I do meditate every day, but I'm unsure of, like, not the purpose of it, because it does make me feel better, but it's questions that you ask yourself. And I always say 90% of the time, you will know exactly what you want and you will know exactly what you need. You just choose not to act on it. Because let's say when I was locked behind a desk in the city, I always knew. I was like, in my head every day, I was like, I am bigger than this desk. My life is meant to be more than this desk. But I was taking no action on it. So I was just, again, living for a salary, living because my mum and dad would be proud if I got a promotion. And for me personally, all well and good people getting promotions, that's sick, but a promotion to me doesn't mean shit. Like, it doesn't motivate me. It doesn't motivate me, oh wow, wicked, I can come to this desk that I hate coming to and get paid more money. Fantastic. I can take more responsibility in a job that I really don't give a shit about. So promotions were never something that inspired me, even though that is the social norm. Like, people get a promotion at work and they're like, yes, I'm buzzing. Like, there's nothing against that. But just for me personally, and for my authentic self, that is not important whatsoever. What is important to me is helping people and giving people the mindset transformation that I've had. Because I'd feel incredibly selfish if I didn't document it on podcasts, or if I didn't run my fitness business, because ultimately that's where the skills and knowledge came from. I never started out thinking, oh, this is going to be a sick business. It was like, I'm doing all of these things that are making me feel so much better, and I'd be incredibly selfish if I didn't share this with other people. I think that, as I say, it is huge that you listen to the voice in your head, because whether you want to admit it or not, and whether you've got 1,000,000,001 excuses around why you can't do something, the voice in your head will tell you exactly what you want to do and who you want to be. Whether that is you are the best person at knitting in the entire world, or you want to be a professional footballer, or you want to change lives, or you want to go and travel, or you want to wear certain clothes or look a certain way. That's your authentic self. And the longer that you try and cover that up or hide that person, I believe, the more frustrated inside yourself you're going to be. So you're living to fit, as I say, the social norms. Like, a great example of this is, I'm from like the border of Essex and London, but if you go out on a night out in Essex, everyone will dress the same. Even in Bali, you go out, everyone's in like an open shirt, got rings on, whatever. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a bit of a vibe, but like, you see patterns of behaviour, and not necessarily individuals. They're just following a trend, which is not your authentic self. Where I think, just to be you owe that to yourself, because there's 7 or 8 billion people on this planet, and no one can do a better job than you of being you. So why wouldn't you give it your all to become the best that you can be? Another really important way to find out who you are, and what has really helped me unbelievable amounts over the last year or so, is journaling. Like, if you journal your thoughts, you are going to hash out exactly what you want. And it sounds so stupid. You have thoughts going through your head all day, every day, and you could have a thought of, I want a McDonald's, which will hold the same weight as, I want to quit my job and go and pursue my dream, if you don't write it down. And obviously, the dream of living your dream life compared to having a McDonald's is monumentally different. So For me, on a level, you need to start journaling, and I would journal around questions like, how do you want to act? If you was being your complete self, how would you act? What would you do on a day-to-day basis? How would you start the day? How would you carry yourself? What is your dream? I won't say physique, but what do you look like? How do you dress? How do you communicate with people? How do you speak? Are you polite? These sort of questions that you need to journal and hash out. Who are your friends? Are you somebody that needs to be in a relationship all the time? Do you need constant validation and attention from others to be your true self? These are things that you need to just constantly ask yourself, because when you become so happy within yourself, you're not really going to care too much about what other people think. And another experience that I've had with this was when I started my business. I was so worried. In a way, I moved to Australia, obviously, and started my business, and that took me away from the people that had been in my life for the longest amount of time. So when I started posting fitness content, I was worried that they'd judge me because obviously they can see my Instagram, but in the same sense, it was sort of like I was protected because I was so far away. It wouldn't matter if people in the UK was taking the piss out of me, because I was being my true self on the other side of the world. And off the back of that, over time, it then became my identity and who I actually am, what I actually want to do. Because I can tell you now, before picking up a camera and speaking to it like this, if you go back on my Instagram, you'll see stuttering, mumbling, getting my words wrong still. But that's because it was me breaking into the person that I know I am inside. And knowing who that is and holding on to it is how you're going to achieve your authentic self. And unfortunately, if you're somebody that really does care about other people's thoughts and feelings about you, you're never going to become who you actually are, because you'll be worried, oh, what if they think that? Or if I do this, I might lose some friends, or I might alienate myself. But what is the problem with that? At the end of the day, would you rather be liked by everyone for being someone that you're not, or loved by a few for being who you actually are? And for me, it's the second choice every single day that ends in a Y. No doubt about it. You need to really give up trying to impress other people. And by that, I think designer clothes is always the one that I look to, because a t-shirt's a t-shirt in my opinion. Most of my wardrobe is just plain. Don't get me wrong, I like certain brands that do plain clothes, but I think people that spend ridiculous amount of money on clothing with big brands over them, you're not buying that for yourself. You might think, okay, that is a nice t-shirt, but a plain black t-shirt is a nice t-shirt. When you've got these massive brands over your chest and whatever, in my opinion, that's you searching for validation from other people. You're trying to say, oh, look at how much money I've got, or I'm buying this so you can see that I've got money. Why does that matter? Why does that matter? And don't get me wrong, there are some really nice branded stuff, but to pay 1,000 times more than, or 100 times more I should say, than a normal t-shirt, sometimes I think that's like a midget dick syndrome, you know, where you're trying to make up for insecurities, in fact. Because I don't believe that anyone sort of comes out of the womb and thinks, oh yeah, I'd rock Gucci very well. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's a really important one. And I think that the key to being your authentic self is you owe it to you, and that is just again, I've said it before, but the importance that you need to ram home is like, no one else on this planet can be a better you. You are blessed to be in your body who you are, so don't try and be anybody else. Just be yourself, and you will attract the right people into your life. Because let's say you're somebody that doesn't really like going out and partying, but you go out and party, and then you meet a girl or a lad whilst you're out partying, and then you get with them and you get into a relationship, and their values are, I love going out and partying, and the reality is that you don't, then you're going to be stuck in this relationship where you've got completely different values, but you're together because you was pretending to be someone that you're not. So to be unapologetically you is a superpower, and yeah, people will judge you, and that's absolutely fine. Like, I always talk about myself like Marmite, because I know that some people are going to love me and some people are going to hate me, and that is absolutely fine, because I am not going to change who I am for anyone, and nor should you. And that is the most important thing in life. Like, I don't think people, or enough people, understand how special they are, because they're worried about being judged, or think that they should act in these certain ways, when the reality is like, be who you want to be. And if that, as I say, if that means that you love knitting or selling coins or being a PT or whatever it is, just go after it. Just be that person. If you're somebody that's like doesn't enjoy going out, just because all your mates go out, find different pals. If your mates are got different values to you and they're always gossiping and you don't really like being a bitch, find different mates. Do you know what I mean? It is being authentically you. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy, and it's been something, as I say, I had to go to the depths of hell to realise I can't live for other people anymore. But the freedom that you'll feel when you start being who you actually think you are and who you want to be, and acting the way that you want to act, life is going to just completely change for you. And the thing is, you obviously only get one life, so why would you want to live that being somebody that you think you should be rather than being yourself? That's my thoughts on that one. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Obviously, like, subscribe. It will be on YouTube as well. Let's get the views up on there. 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple. But thanks again for the recommendations. I did get another one in for this week as well, so that will be next week's recommendation as well. So, but I will put up a box, because as I say, I love these sort of podcasts where you're asking me and I have to think on how to address it or how I've done it. And for me, that fills me up with an immense sense of pride in myself, because I have taken myself through that journey, but also I think that will help you guys the most that are listening. So thanks for tuning in. Have a fucking unbelievable week. I think I nearly just got through a whole podcast without swearing, so I'm really disappointed in myself then. But enjoy your week, and I'll catch you in the next one.